Good afternoon, adventurers. Oh, yeah. Let me move this out the way here a little bit. Welcome to John's Dungeon Corner. That's right, we're still working on the series for Dungeon Masters all the way through January. We're kind of getting to the end there. But boy, I got some good stuff today. And hey, John, welcome to the show, brother. All right, so by the way, the Dungeon Corner is always coming to you live from the Collective in Altamont Springs, Florida. So don't forget to stop by the shop. Check it all out. It's expanding. I think by the end of the month, they said, we are going to be so big. I'm telling you, I'm not going to ruin it for you. You just got to come and take a look at it, all right? So check this out. Today, we're going to be talking about the campaign world where everything is set in. The world we live in. All right, but before that, I want to talk about some really cool stuff that's here. Miniatures. Oh my gosh, I love miniatures. So I'm gonna come and show you. Happy Friday, Sarah. Welcome to the show. I want to show you these. These are some really cool miniatures. I mean, this is Ziatora, the Incinerator from Magic the Gathering. Very cool character. This is one of the bigger miniatures. I got to move over this way. There we go, right there. Look at that, huh? It's unpainted, but it's pre-primed, all right? Very nice miniature. Now, here we got the Reservoir Kraken. Wow. This is really neat. Take a look at that Mamma Jamma, huh? That's nice. I like that. Then back here, you can see it kind of painted. Okay, on the side there. Look at that. That is really cool. Okay, then, that's like a large, a mid-large. Then you've got these bigger ones, right? Look at this guy. Obnixilis, the Adversary. Here he is kind of painted. Very cool character, huh? I like it. And then, of course, here goes some Lorzander the Collector. These are all new miniatures that have come out. Oh, I hate that. There we go. I'm going to show you the painted version there. I'm kind of bringing it up. There we go. Then you got Jetmir, Nexus of Rebels. Okay, there it is. But there goes the painted miniature. Okay. They all come pre-primed with bases. Okay, and then we got Falco Spara Packweaver. Very cool characters. These are all pre-primed characters. You can do some writing on that parchment there. Very nice, okay? Then, this is the Tyranny of Dragons. Defy the Queen of Evil Dragons in this adventure for the world's greatest role-playing game. Okay, this is the Return of Tiamat. Levels 1 through 15. All right. So this one, of course, Tiamat. It's and I'm going to tell you that this one is set in all right. So this is 1 through 15. We're all in here. So this goes all the way through from first level to 15th level. It is set. I want to say it's set on the Sword Coast. Okay, let me just double check. I know there's a little map in here, and I never want to give out bad information, especially because in this week we're talking about campaign settings. John, I have the Horde of the Dragon Queen adventure that is set in. Yes, I just want to make sure that this takes place where I want it to take, where I'm going to say it takes place. All right. That's important. I never want to, and I want to say, yes, it is, but I want to see the map. Here we go. Yes, there goes Waterdeep and all that. So this is the Sword. It takes place in the Sword Coast. And the reason I say that is that the new adventure, the Krynn, takes place in Krynn, in the world of Krynn, which is the Dragonlance. All right. So I want to make sure you understand that these are two separate campaigns. The one that takes the Dragonlance campaign takes place in the world of Krynn, and yes, it's based on and has Tiamat and Bahamut in it, the Platinum Dragon. So I just want to make sure we understand that these are two different sets, two different campaigns. All right, so I showed you all the cool. Oh! This is really neat. I think I kind of touched on this. This is the Dungeons and Dragons Onslaught. Okay, this is really neat. Basically, there's a competitive skirmish game in which each player controls an adventuring party from one of the powerful factions of the Forgotten Realms. That you go into the dungeon and you fight against rival characters. So you've got 21 fully painted miniatures, a double-sided game board, 20-sided die, the cards, the standard cards, the mini cards, tokens, terrain elements, a rule book, a scenario guide, and plastic standees. So this is really nice. You've got miniatures that you play with. It looks like there's an adventuring group of forest-dwelling goblins with a giant, perhaps. Here's a tiefling, a dark elf. These are kobolds here with their guys, and a troll, a two-headed Eden, probably a dragon. So I don't know a lot about it other than it's come out. It is here. It has miniatures. I'm going to get more information on it. We just got this in. And, sometimes with new things, I haven't been able to get my hands on one and open it up yet. Hey, brother. All right, my brother, look at that. We got New York. We have Sarah, who's usually in St. Thomas. She's here in Florida, thank goodness. And John is up in the Central Florida area, Northern Central Florida area. So that's really cool. It's always nice to see that diversity. Welcome to the show, everybody. I kind of went over the new things that have come in. It's really neat. We're always getting miniatures in. Okay, there's always some kind of game coming in. There's always a launch of something new. So it's good to just kind of tune into the show, if nothing else, just for that. And that's what we talk about, right? Excuse me while I take a little drink here. So when we're talking about that, I can hardly ever bring up everything. I kind of concentrate on some miniatures and maybe like a book and this new Onslaught thing. 3 new items. These are multiple items. And there's more miniatures, by the way. We always get restock and we always get new things in. But these are really neat. I enjoy these miniatures because it takes the whole headache of primering. Sometimes you wonder, oh my gosh, what color am I going to primer in? Okay, I like to primer all my things in white. White makes the colors pop. Black, this is just kind of quickly. Black kind of gives you a darker, shadier look. These are all primered in a neutral light gray, which is nice because you can take it either way. People, I'll tell you what, we're gonna talk about painting, and I'm gonna try and get Fiona to come out. She's amazing, and I really want her to I want to showcase her talents because she's really good, and she can take it all about primering, speed painting, the speed paints. She works with a lot of different mediums as far as the paints go, with normal paints, speed paints, and that kind of thing, shading. And I think she can do a really good job, bang up job. Even though I do paint, and I do okay, I do all right, good tabletop quality paints. She actually does an amazing job because she actually takes it to the next level. And that's what I want. I always want, when I showcase somebody, I want them to be more. Okay? You know how you always meet somebody and you want, I expected more. Well, I'm going to give you that more. But for now, let's talk about campaigns, where we set our campaigns in, all right? Our world. Now, I always have the box sets up here because they have maps of the world where this setting is taking place. Comes in the Essentials kit, and it covers, the neat thing is that it covers both. I'm going to kind of show you that real quick because it's a real nice map. It comes in the Essentials kit. It's something that you can get. Now, here is the Sword Coast, a really nice map of the Sword Coast. It comes in the Essentials kit. All right. There it is. It has, the famous, Neverwinter. It has, the Mirror of the Dead Men. Fendelen, which is where this takes Icespire Peak, where the second adventure can take place. And as you follow this up, of course, you've got all the other famous cities. And then here, we also out here in this ocean, when you get the second starter set, the Dragons of Stormwreck Isle, that happens right out here. And you can see it because it has a map in it. In the booklet, it shows it, and it's out here. And then, of course, over here are the Moonshae Isles, the Moonshae Isles, yes, from the adventures. And of course, don't forget that on the back of this is Fandalen, the actual city, village, town of Fandalen. Okay, so this is all pre-generated, pre-made, comes in the essentials kit, but it's a campaign. It's part of the campaign world. It's also part of what is it? Oh, Faerun, which is Forgotten Realms. All right, so there's that. All right, now other worlds. Now the Trinity happens on Sword Coast. So if you have that map, it's great to have. You can add to it. You can kind of compare it to what's going on here. That's specifically the Sword Coast. This has a bigger map of Faerun in it that has the Auroch desert and that kind of thing. Now, so when we create worlds, and I wanted to show you that map so you can see how nice that is. That covers a nice area. It's a big map. Sometimes when we try to decide how our campaign is going to go, we're kind of like, sometimes we're intimidated. Sometimes we want to go so big that it does get intimidated because you got to flesh all this out, okay? And when I mean flesh it out, I mean you got to give the cities, you got to come up with the villages, the towns, the cities, the capital cities, the different regions, the different kingdoms. You got to name them, you got to inhabit them, you got to fill them with creatures, adventures, and so on and so forth. So it gets from where it's something simple like the map of Fandalen. This is a really nice map. This is Fandalen. Here it is. Okay. It's a town. It's got some woods around it, some hills, some farms, all the different buildings. You could do something simple like this. And then, of course, set it in a region. Here. This is where Fandalen is. So that town is right here. Okay. All right. So you can do something as simple as that. I'll kind of just put it right here so we can remember that it comes in the essentials kit. All right. Now, when we get a little further along, though, we may want to adventure. We know we do a little one shot. We're kind of like, yeah, I think this is something we want to do. Hey, Diggs, how are you? How's it going? Welcome to the show. So once we get to that point, we say, okay, well, maybe I'm just going to kind of show something. See, I got a blank slate here. So I'm going to kind of say, I've got a town. We're going to call this town, I don't know, let's call it, what shall we call it? I know. We'll call it Dragonholm. All right, so here it is. This is the town, and it's called Dragonholm. All right, so here we are. I want to call it Dragonholm. All right, so there it is. Ta-da! There's our town that our adventure started in, Dragonholm. All right? So we did an adventure, and we did an adventure up. There was this, I'm going to put a little river here. We're going to run a river to the west of Dragonholm, and this dragon is just going to kind of split things up here, into threes. There, boom. Okay. I'm gonna draw a couple things real quick just to kind of give you an idea how quickly we can do this. Okay, so we're gonna put a set of mountains here. I'm just gonna draw some mountains, quickly in the area. Dragonholm is in a valley. All right, we're gonna make Dragonholm be part of a valley. Why? Because we can. All right, there we go. I think that would be nice like this. Boom. There we go. All right, so there we are. So Dragonholm is part of a valley. And so in the northern and eastern part of it, you got mountains, you've got a river that kind of splits things up. And then because I don't have a green marker, I'm going to draw this in. I'm going to draw this in black. I will put a little woods area out here, okay? We're going to put some woods in here. Little set of woods. All right. Right in here. I'm just going to kind of draw little puffs there. There we go, just like so. All right, so there we go. Ta-da! Here's my little valley. All right, there it is. Here's my little valley I just came up with Dragonholm at its center because that's where my adventure is going to be out of. And then to the east, well, you're west, but to the east, we got a set of mountains north and east. Over here, we got a little woods, and then we got this river that kind of splits up into a tributary river that runs off to the west, and this one continues north. All right, so there it is. Ta-da! That's my little adventure map for now. Okay, and this is where they're going to adventure. And I may put, eventually I may have sent them out into, let's say, the woods. I'm going to send them to the woods. And out there, right here where that X is, okay, see, there's an X there in the woods. You see it? All right, that's when we went and adventured in a cave. All right, we went into the caves, and it's like, oh, wow. There was a hole in the ground. Turned out to be more. Some caves down there, not caves, maybe a subterranean dungeon or something was found there at that X, whatever it may have been. They've adventured there. Okay, that's awesome. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to send them up the river, so to speak, up into the mountains here, where there is a cave. Okay. All right, so now we're going up here. Now our next adventure is going to be in the north, and that X up there in the mountains. All right, and there's a set of caves out there, and there's some goblins that have just been doing, or orcs or whatever the creatures may be. And wow, oh wow, we did not know, but right here at where the river splits, there's a little fishing village named, I don't know, Selden. Okay. This village is a small village, and it's named Selden. We're going to put two N's on there because, well, that's just the way they spelled it. So now they discovered this little village that's up here. I added this village now, okay? So now we got Selden. That's up there. It's a fishing village. And then we got Dragonholm down here, which is our town. It's grown up. That's where our adventures are based out of. So now they have a second place, all right? So what I'm showing you is that we can develop this as we adventure, as we send them out. We can develop the campaign map. All right? Instead of having this huge thing already drawn out, we slowly inhabit it, and we let them discover it as we go. Okay, so you don't have to have this huge map made up. Okay, so all we got mountains, we got a river, we got a forest. We do an adventure in the forest. That's awesome. So now we know that there are these. There's an underground dungeon out there that. Whatever you do with it from there, okay, may have multiple levels. They only discovered the first level, and they were like, whoa, okay. Then we sent them up here, and they discovered this fishing village up here, Selden, which is a small fishing village at the mouth of the rivers, where the two rivers split, where the river splits into two, and there you go. And so we keep adding. Maybe on the other side of the mountains over here, there may be another town or a city, and so on and so forth. And you develop these, and you develop the NPCs, and you develop. And we're going to get into that next week and kind of when we wrap it all up for the Dungeon Master month. But you develop the NPCs first in Dragonholm. The important ones you develop. The rest of them you can just name and say, hey, there's a grocer named William, and there's the armorer's name Gimlar. He's a dwarf. His name is Gimlar, and so on and so forth. Hey, bud, welcome to the show, Antonio. So you start with a small map of an area, and you develop it slowly but surely, okay, as you go, as it becomes relevant to the adventures. Okay, you've already seen the map of the Sword Coast. Now I'm going to show you a couple of maps, the maps that come in the world. So like when you go to the Curse of Strahd, we know that all happens. You get engulfed by the mist, this, that, the other, and you end up in Barovia. Okay, so what they did was they drew a map of Barovia. There's Barovia. Okay, there's the map of Barovia. There we go. The map of Barovia. And it goes further. I mean, there's other maps that coincide with that map in the Curse of Strahd. I'm just kind of showing you little things. Okay, and it's detailed. The different things that are important are detailed in here. As a Dungeon Master, you'll have this already available to you. So you really don't have to do a lot of work, but read as you need. Okay, now, so that's the Curse of Strahd. Now, in the wild beyond the Witchlight, you have a different concept. Okay, there's 6 areas because this is all beyond the Witchlight. So this carnival travels through all these different lands. funny, kind of like in Barovia. And this is called thither. All right, this is one of the lands that they travel to. Notice that there's this mist engulfing it. Okay, so that's the thing behind Barovia. As you go to the different lands, that everything's engulfed in the fog, and there you are. Okay, so the carnival travels through all these different lands, and you see this is the map of that area. And there's other maps in here. Don't get me wrong. Let me see. And I'll show you another area. Let me see. Oh, there we go. Okay, so you saw thither. Right? Very plains with a couple mountains, some cities. Now this is downfall. This is a chain of different areas, almost like little islands in the fog, right? And that's called downfall. And it's detailed in here. The important people are detailed, the different areas of detail, what you can't find, what you can't find. So that's a different way of doing it. Okay, so you got a land that's covered in fog, and you come up into these other lands. So imagine like a huge continent that's covered by fog, and as you come out of the fog in different places, there you are. Okay. Now, this, of course, is a bigger map of this includes the Sword Coast. This is actually Faerun. All right. So here we have. Let me get my glasses. Oh, buy a shirt. Cool shirt, right? There's a Dungeon Master's Guide shirt, and my son and his daughter-in-law. My daughter-in-law got for me. So here we go. I wore it today. So here we go. This is Faerun. Here is the Sword Coast, which you saw in others. There's Waterdeep, Trollbark, the High Moor. These are things that you see. The Fields of the Dead. All right, here goes Baldur's Gate. And here is a Sea of Swords with the islands that I was telling you about. So the Dragon Isles are down here, and this is the Moonshine Isles. Okay, so there's another one. This has the High Ice, Anauroch the Desert. I was telling you about down over here is the Reaching Woods, Sunset Mountains way up here, of course, the Kingdom of Many Arrows, which if you read the Drizzt Do'Urden books, you know who that is. The Spine of the World is up there, so on and so forth. All right, so there's that one. And then we jump. I want to do one more. And then, of course, there's this is the world of Eberron. This is just this is the continent of Khorvaire. As you can tell, it's very detailed, has major roads on it. Everything's named out. The Demon Waste, Shadow Marches, Drome, Mournland, the Talenta, Valinor, the principalities over there. And there's each of them have a little scale to show you what's a city, what's a town, what the scale of reach is, the Ice White Island. Now, this one comes with a huge map in the back of it that you can open up, and you see it right there. It kind of has a lot of information on it. So I'm kind of throwing a lot of worlds at you, but just to kind of see that you can go from what I drew here. Where'd it go? Where did I put this? Excuse me. Where did I put it? Oh, did I eat that while nobody was looking? I tend to put things down and just kind of whoo. Oh, here we go. I brought it back and put it where we're supposed to be. All right, so we can go from something like this to something like that. Or, and I've shown you this before, okay? You can sit there and put together an entire world like that. And this is the world of Eldritch Kingdoms that my player is playing, all right? So there it is. I just wanted to throw that out there. I drew that this is something I've been fleshing out for years. Yeah. Right now they're playing down in the Southlands, a place near a place called Dragonsong, actually. Right there is a walled town. On the verge of being a city, but not quite. Not quite. It's not ready for that yet. The DM's not ready for it to be a city. But anyway, so that's how it can grow from something, the campaign area, all the way up to a huge world that you actually flesh out, with NPCs and monsters, and you decide what kind of kingdoms are there. And don't worry, the Dungeon Master's Guide is a wonderful tool and reference on all that. Climate, the different types of governments, monarchies, so on and so forth, are all right in here to help you. Plus, there's a lot of information online, but this is a great book. It does a lot. Let me tell you something. This one book for a Dungeon Master, that's why it's called the Dungeon Master's Guide. It gives you a lot of information. It can take you from A through Z. Okay, now, don't expect it. It probably won't have every single answer in here. I'm not going to tell you that because there's a lot of questions that you're going to have as a dungeon master. But the neat thing is, this will let you. This is like sets up the framework of your world, of your adventures, the magic, everything. The answers are all in here. Now, which monsters should I have in that? That's why you need a monster menu. We talked about that, the challenge rating and that kind of thing. And the player's handbook was designed to help you as a dungeon master kind of understand how these player character, the races and the classes kind of go together with the backgrounds and so on and so forth, and help you build a PC or, in your case, an NPC. Because if you want an important character, say there's a baron that the character's going to run into. You might use him more than once. You figure this guy's going to be a central figure. He's going to be their patron. Okay, he is going to be their patron. So you make him. You take the player's handbook and you design the guy, and you create him like you would a character. Make him whatever level you think is necessary. All right. Along those lines, I will tell you that if your player characters are at first level, you're probably going to want to create the leaders somewhere between 7th and 10th level, as high as maybe 12. You want them to be strong. They're ruling a whole area. You know, they have to have that charisma, that leadership, or that strength, just physical strength to hold things together. Whether he's a mage or a warrior, whether he's an elf or a halfling. In my campaign, there's a place called Greenfield, and the Greenfields are a family of halflings. And they've run this town and they've held it together. It's called Greenfield because it's an agricultural community. It started out as a bunch of farms, and it's grown into, what is Greenfield nowadays? A small city. Okay? So there you have it. I'm just kind of throwing that out at you. All my cities have a little history behind them. Excuse me. They have a reason to be there. Other than I just thought I needed something there. Okay? And you got to kind of have that, and you make these notes as you go. All right, write yourself a little note. Greenfield. Greenfield. Oh yeah, they're gonna be halflings. They used to be farms. They all banded together. The Greenfield helped them get better. That Greenfield was a druid. The original Greenfield that helped put all this together was a druid, and she helped the farms prosper and able to grow crops and feed. And so she didn't really become the first de facto leader of the city. Actually, it was her son who, became the first actual documented leader of that community. And it grew from a bunch of farms into like a village, almost town, because it happened to be right on the major road. Now it's known as the Merchant Road. It was originally known as the Emperor's Highway, but the empire up north, the emperor was assassinated. His 3 children decided to split. They formed their own 3 kingdoms. And like I said, I can talk about this forever because I have history for all of it. It may not be fleshed out from A through Z yet, but somewhere along the way, I have a starting point for every area and the cities that are within it and their rulers and why they came to be. Some are ex-adventurers, some are ex-military, some are just nobility. There's theocracies, there's matriarchies, there's the free lands, which are right there in the middle, with the city of Dragonar, which is led by the Dragonar, the Amethyst Dragoons, which, are the Knights of Dragonar, so on and so forth. And that knighthood is actually all fleshed out. So, Tranquility, the 3 elven kingdoms. Down here are 2 elven kingdoms that were expelled from there because they were just too good at what they did. But there's a whole history behind it. I could go on and on, but you see where this is going. You have to have a rhyme and reason to what you're doing, not just for yourself, but remember, it's not just you. It's the players that you have to give them. So it's like they're always hungry for more information, and you have to have something. Whether it's a little nibble or maybe it's a full-size dinner. How much information you give them is relevant is completely up to you as a dungeon master. But you got to have some. If you make it up on the spur of the moment, try to make notes. I got to get better at that myself. Sometimes I throw stuff out there, and I'm throwing so much stuff out there that I don't remember what it is. So try to make some notes. You know, where even at this time and age, I'm still sometimes having to remember, hey, you got to make some notes so that you remember what you're talking about. So that's important, okay? So that's something that I will definitely pass on to you because it's important. It really is. Quite important that we pass that on and we remember what it is we say for future reference. So that's it on the campaigns. I kind of threw that out there. You know, I try to spend some time touching on these things, but the campaign map can be as simple as, you know, and I use this because it's a dry erase, but I mean, you can put this on a piece of paper and now it's permanent and you can change it, make it bigger, make it smaller. You decide the scale that this is on, you know, for right now, because it's kind of big, this could be like, you know, okay, well, 2 inches is a mile, 3 inches is a mile, whatever. On my scale here, my map is 1 inch per mile. A day's travel is 1 inch, unless you're on a road, and then it doubles to 2. And if you're in rough terrain, it doubles to half. It's a simple scale. I could have done it 2 inches, whatever. 1 day's travel is 1 inch, which gives this map is about, to cross the entire map on a road, which you can do from here to there, is about a month, which is about right. If you set out on a horse, I think from the East Coast of the United States to the West Coast, it'd probably take you about a month to cross it on horseback, give or take, right? Depending on what kind of terrain you run into and whether there's good trails and so on and so forth. So, all right. Don't forget, we got some new miniatures in. Really cool. All the Magic the Gathering miniatures are starting to come out, which are really nice. They're doing a really good job with them. They're pre-primed, so that's always a good thing. The starter set, the essentials kit are wonderful tools for you would-be dungeon masters to start with, so it's not so difficult. There's a lot of great information there, and I highly, highly recommend it that you start with one of those starter sets. Get that essentials kit. It's got the map. It just gives you so many tools, initiative cards, a screen. It just expands the game, and it just opens up the game. Another set of full dice, and then some. Okay, whether you do the Stormwreck Isle or the Fandalin starter, doesn't matter. They all three fit together really nicely. In fact, you could, if you wanted to kind of get used to a campaign, you could set the three of them together and run them. And you got a really nice campaign till about 7th, 8th level, probably. Maybe even 9th. It just depends on how you want to boost up the monsters. It's a milestone campaign, so it tells you, okay, they're now 2nd level. They're now 3rd level. So on and so forth. We talked about that earlier. But this is all set up A through Z for you, beginning to end. Wonderful. Okay? If you want to go your route, we talked about that. You can go as simple as creating your map and your world like this, or you can set it at, like in these books, or even draw up your own like I did. Completely up to you. These are your best friends back here. The Dungeon Master's Guide, the Monster Manual, and the Player's Handbook. They are like something, those are must-haves, can't do withouts. All right? I know that excuse me, I know a lot of people are going with the whole digital and this, that, the other, but I'm gonna tell you what, there is nothing easier to me than to sit there and open this book up and just go to the index, look at it, open it up to the page, and there it is. Okay, that looks awesome. I mean, that's just, the visuals in the book are just amazing. I love them. It may be old school, but I like old school. You know, technology is a wonderful thing, but when you don't have it, if your character's on your phone and your phone dies for whatever reason, or it breaks down on you, or whatever may happen, now what do you got? That's all I'm saying. And it has happened more often than not. Okay? It has happened on several occasions. So that's what I warn you of. I always like to have a paper version of everything that I have. I like to have the books in my hand, if for whatever reason. So, okay. Miniatures. We always love our dice. Onslaught's out, which is a really cool adventuring game where it pits adventurers versus adventurers. And I think that pretty much wraps it up, gang. So thanks for coming out today and hanging out and listening in on the show. Remember, it's recorded. They've been in order. This whole month has been nothing about dungeon mastering. Next Friday, I'm going to kind of wrap it all. I'm going to kind of put it all together and wrap it up, give you a couple more tips and advice. And like I said, this is just for me. Been doing this for a while, to run things out of boxes, created my own. I've run the adventure books. It's all fun. It all depends on which way you want to go. Okay, I come back and say, as new DMs, the essentials and the starters are a wonderful start. So other than that, thanks for coming out. Thank you for coming out to the show and spending some time with me. As always, may the road rise up to meet your feet, and may all your adventures be successful. So this is John from John's Dungeon Corner at the Collective in Altamonte Springs, Florida, saying see you next Friday. Everyone have a beautiful weekend.